is Sam Vilain from New Zealand. No. Yeah, testing 1, 2. I'm here to talk about MooseX, enjoyed MooseX. First we're going to talk about what MooseX and what was the name of the title is a tribute to the classic book on X, Joy of X. Actually, I'm not really going to talk about what Moose is because, you know, by now, people should know what it is. It's a meta object protocol system. So, what is MooseX about? Now, it's about the basic thing about it is it's a namespace Moose extension. So, but what does that really mean? And I put this to the community the other day about what that actually means. And the only thing that we can really say is that it's Moose extensions, not code that's just written using Moose, but any more than that. And we really come up with a real definition. So what I've done is try to look at this kind of objectively, quantifiably, and saying what sort of things are we likely to find under MooseX. And in general, it's stuff that's useful for building Moose classes. And most all the MooseX modules on CPAN have that kind of common feature. But so sometimes they just deliver Moose classes and roles, but because they pull other Moose classes in which are also MooseX for other reasons, they're kind of MooseX by association. MooseX classes in general do not deliver functionality that your modules are likely to provide. That's another common thread with all these. Sometimes they're actually prototyping something for Moose itself. Now, there's definitely those people that think that MooseX should be only for modules in this class. Not many actually fit into this category at the moment, and it's not really what users expect. There are also modules in the MooseX namespace which just deliver types, and those should all go under MooseX types. Apparently, even if they don't use the MooseX types module, they just deliver. If they just deliver subtypes and things without using MooseX types, that's fine as well. They can go in the namespace. And another very common thread is that they'll all be meta role based, and I'll come back to what that means in a moment. So it all helps to look at what terms of it helps to describe the terms I'm going to use. One of the things when I was talking to Steve about Moose in the beginning, one of the things I said that was one of the hardest things about meta programming is the terminology. And you've got meta classes, and sometimes you might have meta classes. So it helps to nail these down. And in Moose, the classes they've avoided multiple meta as a prefix. So we don't talk about meta classes. We talk about things like meta classes, and it sort of makes it more less ambiguous. So yeah, basically when we say Moose class, we mean that basically just some package that's written using Moose. The meta class is the object that you get when you call meta on an object or a package. The meta class is if you call meta on an actual Moose class, you get back something like Moose meta class, or maybe you'll get a Moose attribute, depending on what you call that meta role. In terms of those, when we've got those definitions, it's quite easy to talk about what inheritance is versus what roles are. In terms of inheritance, we're talking about we're delivering the same method call interface as the parent, as in the same sort of functions as the class, but we're also delivering the same substance, the same backing. So with inheritance, we can introspectable means we can look into it, we can expect it, we can walk through the class tree, that sort of thing. But being intrinsic means that it is fundamentally a part of the class structure, in a very concrete sense. Whereas with roles, we're doing the same thing in some ways. We're providing some method calls, but we're not making any promises about how those are going to be stored in the class, because of the mixed-in nature of them. The key difference between roles and some other things like mixed-ins is that they're introspectable. You can sort of walk through them still. You can look at your objects and say, what roles does this have, and you can walk through them, that sort of thing. Even though when it comes to the actual class structure, they get flattened out, and so the class level it's all flat. But if you know how to look through the eyes of roles, you can see them. We'll talk about Moose meta-class extensions. Now, this is a joke's not working because the image size. So, with the Moose meta-class extension, one of the great things about Moose is that because the meta-classes themselves are Moose classes, we can apply tricks like inheritance on them. So, if we take a Moose meta-class and we derive it, subclass it, then we can extend Moose itself. And similarly, since I don't know, about version 0.5 or something like that, you've been able to apply roles as well to Moose meta-classes. And this is cool for various reasons, which I'll get to later. And another term that we use is traits. There's no real difference between a trait and a role that's applied to a class, other than with a trait you can get easy access to them. So these are the terms I'll be using a bit through the talk. One of my favourite new modules recently is I've been using for command line scripts. It's MooseX GetOpt. One of the reasons for this is that it's instead of it lets me get away with a single declaration. So with using sort of standard sort of modules, you have variables and assign. And when you do your get options, they point them at those variables, that sort of thing. Whereas with MooseX GetOpt, you just have to define it once in your class, and then when you instantiate that, like an instance of your application, the variables will get filled depending on what the users have said. And that's pretty cool. It also means that you can test more easily because you're creating so you create your object and call methods on it, rather than if you're otherwise wanting to test a command line script, you might be using shell and that sort of thing. So MooseX GetOpt is definitely a really nice module for me. In terms of how it fits into the why it's a MooseX module. It matches quite a few of the rules that we're talking about. It uses these meta role traits so that you use it by decorating your attributes with hints. And it doesn't really, like if you're writing a script and you're using this module, it's not really, like your script is doing something different to just command line parsing. So it's very, very helpful. It doesn't really do any functionality on its own. One of the nice things about declaring it this way is that you can introspect these declarations. You can pull up your class meta object, pull out all the attributes, and MooseX GetOp does this to create a help page. So that's a nice unification of one declaration into lots of different uses. In MooseX simple config, and it's also a role config from file. Again, these are meta roles in that they. So if you're normally going to be supporting command line argument parsing and configuration loading, you might write something like this. You might get your options and then use some other module to stack them on top. Maybe you find one module which does all that for you. But it's quite a common thing to do, quite fiddly a lot of the time. With MooseX GetOps, you're going to be you can still use the same declaration. So this is the same basic script as before, but we've just added another role in there. Well, that's adding a role to the that module is part of this API. Adds a role to the meta class of the class that's used it. And a lot of trait modules are like that. So now we've got one declaration, and it's not only is it accepting actual command line, but it's also loading from the config file. And I think it's quite tidy. So MooseX Dynamize is another module that I found really useful here as well for writing similar scripts. So instead of having non-real-world examples, I can actually use a real-world example, which I've managed to cut and paste for you there. And this is a module on CPAN which actually implements a daemon. And what I found was that I could use these modules in concert, the MooseX simple config, which I unfortunately had to make a patch to get it to support multiple config file locations, but that's besides the point. So with a few roles, I can support configuration, command line processing, and daemonizing. Right?
Yeah, this is going to make 2 daemons.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Seems like hell.
I was cutting and pasting, and yeah.
So you have to stay today.
Excepting if you want to see the actual source of speak, and I think it's very cool that I've been able to be working on projects recently where I've actually been, basically sharing between our team on GitHub and publishing to CPAN before we do consumer releases. So, go to the